Okay. All right. So I will share my screen so that we look at the agenda for today. Okay, please hope we can all see my screen.
Yes.
Yeah, please kindly mute your microphones if you are not talking, so that it will make the recording much more smoother. All right, so when we all go visit our repository that I created for the program, let me scroll to where the modules are. So module 1, we have QGIS and PostGIS, which we'll be tackling this week. Yeah, so that's what we'll be doing. We'll be touching base. We'll be touching base on the stuff that we need in QGIS to help us execute our projects. That's our GIS or geoportal. Yeah, so when you click on it, I updated the repository yesterday. So when you click on it, you have the introduction to QGIS and all that. So this, luckily for me, I had done this some weeks or months ago. So this is much more detailed. So if you are unable to join the program, going through the repository alone should help you understand what you'll be touching base on. And there are some things in the repository I wouldn't be touching base on because it's more concise in there. Okay, so as we all know, we will be going through the QGIS introduction to QGIS. Then we'll know, I know this tool is not new to many of us. Those of us who are used to the proprietary systems as QGIS might not use, like, I don't know if they combine both, but I know majority of us use QGIS. QGIS. Yeah, so there's another tool that has the same functionality or equally performs the same functionality as the QGIS. Okay, so I'll launch my QGIS. I've already done that. Yeah, so before I start the section, let me just put some preambles. When I start the training, if you have any question, kindly jot them down. After the presentation, I'll pause the recording, then the questions can come in, then I will tackle them one after the other. All right, thank you very much. All right, so I shared a data set with you. I shared 2 data sets, that's the region data and the district data sets of Ghana. Yeah, so we'll be using that to familiarize ourselves with the QGIS interface. So when you launch or install QGIS for the first time and you launch the system, this is what you're going to see. So this is the whole interface, as you can see here. So on top here is the toolbar. So all the tools that you'll be using will be placed here. So we have our toolbar here, and over here we have our sidebar, and our sidebar we have our browser where you can navigate to a source data and get it onto the layer panel. And over here you can see our layer panel here. And QGIS has been designed in such a way that you can customize your interface. You can customize your interface. So let's say I don't like some tools that are here. So let's say I don't like this tool. I want it to be somewhere here. You can reposition these tools. So when you bring it to a particular tool, you can reposition it to anywhere you want. Same for the panels. You can bring this here, or you can choose to bring it back. Yeah. So there's that flexibility to customize your interface. Okay. Then the next thing I want to also touch base on is these icons here. Somebody may ask, what are these? So these icons are, in a way, I'll say a shortcut to in adding your data source. So when you hover on them, you will see which icon or which the functionality. So the first one is adding a vector layer. If you want to add any vector layer, being it points, polygon, lines, you can use that. Second one is the raster layer. If you have any image, any raster image that you would like to visualize, you can do that. And one thing I forgot to also mention is over here is the map canvas. That's where all our data sets will be visualized. And at the bottom here is called our status bar. So the status bar will have, when you're moving your mouse pointer, you will be seeing, like, you see the coordinates updating itself, and you also have the scale over here. Okay, so this is a brief introduction to the QGIS interface. Okay, so at this point, I'll go into my folders and load a sample data set so we could just go straight to the point. Okay, so you remember in the program outline or the repository I created, as part of the tools that I asked each and every one of us to install before we start the program, I stated in there for us to install our database. That's our PostGIS database. And I know by now, I'm assuming we've all installed the PostGIS database. Yeah. So if you've installed, the next section that I'm praying we'll be able to get to that point. We will get our data from our QGIS into our PostGIS database, and you can do that by using this add. We have our database manager here, so you can connect to your database. Then you can get your data into the database. At the same time, you can also bring it out of the database onto the map. Okay, so I'll navigate to my data folder, then I'll bring it onto the map. But before that, let me minimize this and go back to the repository. Okay, so when you go to the repository, let me go to the main page. Okay, so when you go to the repository, all the data sets that you will be using has been placed here. So when you download, you will get all the data sets that you'll be using for the section or the program. Yeah. So the data sets I shared with I shared on the page was the region and the district data sets. Yeah. So these are the two data sets I shared. Okay. All right. So let me bring back our QGIS interface. So if you want to add your data set onto the QGIS, there are two ways in doing that. I'm used to navigating into the folder, then getting the .shp file and dragging it onto the map, and it opens. That's easier for me. That I'm used to this approach. You can also you can come here, add a vector layer, and then the same way you can navigate to the folder in which you want to add. Let me just add the region data sets. Then you just click on add data, then it adds it. Let me bring it back. And this layer panel here, you can reorder the layers, and it's the same as in ArcGIS. So if you're able to use ArcGIS, using QGIS shouldn't be an issue. The one disadvantage I would say that has with QGIS is most of the tools or some of the functions that you would like to use are not pre-installed. It doesn't come with a system, or it doesn't come with the installation. You have to add a plugin to it to be able to access some of these tools. And with QGIS, because it's open source, anybody at all can develop their own plugins. You can develop your own plugins. You can share with the world. You can develop your plugins and shelve it on your machine, and you'll be using it alone. So let's see how the training goes. The first section of the training goes. Maybe the next phase, I might be taking you through how to develop your own plugins in QGIS. Yeah, that's another thing that we'll be tackling. So I'm hoping by now we've all loaded our region data sets. Let me just remove. Sorry, the district data sets that has the label GH260 MMDA. So we are having 260 districts currently in Ghana. Yeah. So if you also want to visualize the attributes, you right click on it, then you come to open attribute table. And over here, you can visualize the data. You can manipulate the attribute by editing it. When you click on this, you can edit the editing mode. That's the tool here. You can do that. And also, let's say you are going through your records and you see a data set, let's say a certain feature in there that you would like to also visualize on the map. You can highlight on it, then you click on this tool. There's a zoom feature here, and it's going to zoom into what you've highlighted in the attributes. I know this is one of the basic features you could do with this tool. Okay, so now that we are able to visualize our data set attributes, I think this should be okay for this section. Then let's say if you want to clear your selection, you can just come here and just deselect your selection. All right. So the main purpose of this section, loading these data sets, is to try to put a style on the data sets, try to make it much more nicer, applying our cartographic skills here to make it more appealing. Yeah, because we'll be using this data, we are assuming you've gotten the data from your lecturer, your clients, your office, or your workplace, for you to prepare some simple QGIS map for a presentation. So that's our main goal for this section. So we've been giving the data sets here to get it ready for your presentation. So just you double click on it to style it and just do what we are supposed to do. So we come to symbology. You can choose to style it any way. You can be playing with these colors. And I know by now most of us here are professionals. These are basic things that I know you already know how to do it. But for the purpose of those of us who are new to QGIS, I'm just touching base on these features so that at your leisure time, you can go there and explore all these features. So over here, I want to use categorized. So I want to categorize all our districts according to their region. So I select categorize, then I'll select the region. Region is an attribute of the data set that has been loaded. So I select the value region, then I say the color RAM, I'm using random colors, but you can also select, okay, let's use spectra. There are other colors, gradients here you could use. Then after, I will just click on class. Can anyone hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right.
Yes, yes.
I think my internet went down for some seconds. All right. So I'm using the classifier. So when I classify the data sets, it's going to classify them according to the column that I use. That's our region column. And this, I'll just take this one off where there's no data in here. I'll just take it off and I'll click on apply. So when I click on apply, you can visualize what we are seeing here. So it has starred the district according to the regions. So we are styling the districts according to their regions over here. Okay. So at this point, I will just click OK. I think this is more appealing. So that's a simple symbology you can apply to your data sets in QGIS. Then there's one plugin that we'll be using here. And if you want to install the plugin in QGIS, if you want to install the plugin, you just have to go to the plugin. You can see plugins at the menu. So you go to plugin, then you come to manage install plugin. Then it's going to connect. And at this point, you have to have internet because the plugins are being accessed online. So you should have internet. Okay. Then what we will be using. Okay, so before I get to that, come to your settings. Most of the plugins that we use are some of them, I wouldn't say most, some of them are experimental, but in order to get access to them, you have to check these options. So at this point, I'll just pause for 20 seconds for us to do that. So you check the experimental and show also duplicated plugins. I'm just pausing for some few seconds for those of us who are lagging behind to quickly catch up. Okay, so let's continue. So when you come to all, the plugin that we want to install is Quick Map Services. So you type in Quick Map Services. So you should see this. You should see this. Because I've already installed it, it's already checked. So let's say when you click on it, you have installed. For those of us who don't have this plugin in our QGIS, you should see install here. So you can just click on install and it should install. Okay. So after the installation, let's also install one last plugin. That is QGIS to web. So So this is the plugin that I want us to install: QGIS to web and quick map services. QGIS to web and quick map services. QGIS to web and quick map services. And installing this plugin shouldn't take more than 2 minutes. If your internet is good, it can do that in less than a minute. Okay. All right, so I'll just close it. And someone will ask, why are we installing quick map services? So with the quick map services, it comes with base maps. So ArcGIS, you can go to add data, then you have base maps option there that you can select among all the Google base maps and other OSM base maps. So in QGIS, if you want to add a base map after installing your quick map services, you go to your the web menu here. So you can see the plugins we installed are under the web. Yeah, so we'll come back to the QGIS to web. We will come back to that. But for the purpose of this section, like what we are doing now, we would like to use the QGIS, the quick map services. So you highlight on the quick map services, then you come to Google. You have all the Google base maps here. You can add whichever base maps you want to add. So I select that, and you have your hello. Can anyone hear me? Yeah. So I kept getting this sound in my ears, so I'm unable to monitor what is happening. It's going on and off. Okay. All right. So at this point, we've been able to add our base map to our map layer. You can equally change it. So let's say I'm adding an OSM layer. Let's say a standard OSM layer. So when I put off the Google hybrid map, I have that there. Okay. So as we've been able to add our our base maps to our map, there's one thing maybe some of us would like to do with this QGIS. Maybe you want to prepare some simple map quickly from QGIS. Maybe your ArcGIS license is down, and you want to quickly put together a map. So to do that, after you've started, we are assuming, because of our time, I wouldn't go into detail. I'll just start base so that at your leisure time you can go through the repository, and I have a lot of examples with animations in there which you can follow. So if you want to prepare a simple map, you go to your projects, then you come to a new print layout. So you click on new print layout, then you can give it a name. So I will say map _ Ghana. Okay, so that's the name I'm giving to my print layout. So when I come to my print layout here, defaultly I'm being given a landscape like A4 sheets. Defaultly, that's what you're going to get. And in QGIS, I think there is a tab here. You can switch in between the tabs and do that here. But in QGIS, you have to go to the menu. Let me go back again. You have to go to the project menu. Then you come to the new printout layout. Then it will open another window, which we are having here. So now that we have our layer here, depending on your data set, you should know the data sets that you are about printing out or you are about making the map, your map with. And you can see our shapefile here is it's vertical, and we putting this data on a landscape sheet will make it smaller. So in order to change your paper landscape, you have to right click on the sheets, then you have page properties. You click on it, then you can see the paper size. So if you want to change the paper size, we have these listed paper sizes here. You can select any of them and you'll be good to go. But for the purpose of this illustration, I'm just using A4 sheet. So you come to the paper orientation. I want portrait because our data set is portrait, it's not landscape. So now that we've set our paper's orientation, we will come to this tool. So these tools will help you put together your map. So like these are like shortcuts. You can also get these tools here, add items. These tools are also here, but this is like a shortcut to the tool menu that are listed under the add item. Okay, so if you want to add your map to it, there is this menu here, over here, the add map. So you click on it, then you draw a rectangle, or you draw a rectangle, then it's going to render the map into it. So what you've already done, so before you come here, your map should be done. Like you should style, label, everything for the map. So we are assuming that we've done all that here. So someone will be asking, why am I not going into the details? There's a mentorship program, and I'm showing you where the tools are, how you can use the tools. Then it's up to you to go through the repository. I have some detailed steps there that will help you understand some of the steps that we are using here. Then if you have any questions, on Saturdays, we open the floor, you bring it out, then we help you overcome whichever obstacles that you are encountering. Okay, so if you add your map to it, and now we want to make the map appear, want it to be more visible on the sheet. So if you want to do that, you have to activate the move item content. So you click on it and you will scroll. But in order for it to be to move slowly or to move systematically, you hold your control key and you zoom in. Because of the base map that I have behind it, each time you zoom in, it has to reload the base map behind it. Yeah. But if you don't have any base map behind it, it's load faster. Okay, so I have this here, and I can also equally use the same tool to move the map, maybe position it well in the box. Okay, so you can do this positioning. And also with a map, the basic feature of any map, we should have a title, we should have a north arrow, we should have a legend, we should have a scale. Yeah, so add all these things to the map to create a simple or a basic map. Yeah. So add our north arrow. If you want your north arrow, you can get that one here. Click on it. Then let's say I'll just put it somewhere here. Please forgive me for my cartographic skills. the cartographers among us, you can also, I'll come for some lessons. Okay, so I've added my not arrow. I will now add my legend, and the legend automatically reads from your layer. So whatever you do here, over here, so it's going to bring everything here onto our map sheet. So when I select on the legend icon, I'll come here to draw our, what do you call it? I'll draw a box for our legend to fill in there. So you can see we have these items here, the Google Hybrid and the OSM Standard. We can just take them off. So in order to do that, you come to the properties, and each item you bring on the map has properties. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. So you click on it, you can get the item properties here. You can change it. So when I click on this, the properties change, and you can also alter them. There are a lot of properties that you can play with and get used to it. Yeah, so I'll uncheck the auto update. The auto update means that when I uncheck this, any changes I do here stays here. But when I check this, and let's say after cleaning everything here, I go back to the map and do something here, it's gonna affect this place when the map is refreshed. Yeah. So I'm going to uncheck it. Then I would like to take these guys off. So I'm going to Control key and take these guys off, but we don't need them here. Okay. Then I'll use our move content to reposition the map. We will have the map somewhere. So you can do this in your own way. I'm just showing you how to use the tools. Yeah. Then we will add our title. So we have a label here, add a label. You just select that and draw a box here. Then you can come to the properties and just give it a title. So I'll say map of Ghana. Okay. Let's make it a bit much more visible. I'll just increase the font size here. Then I would like to center it. So we have all these properties here, which you can dive into. Yeah, so we have our map title here. And with this, the map layout, you can also give it a frame to put an outline to it. So when you select that here, you come scroll through the properties, you will see frame. So you can highlight on the frame, and it's going to create give them out. Yeah, please kindly mute yourself. All right, thank you. Yeah, so it gives it an outline. Okay, so let's bring our legend inside here. Maybe let's increase the size of the map. So we can put it somewhere here. Then we'll use the move tool to move it a bit. Okay. Then we'll now add our scale bar to it. So that's our scale bar there. And you can draw our scale bar. And it also has some properties in there which you can play with and alter the properties. Okay. What are we missing on our map? We have our title, we have our node arrow, we have our legend, we have our scale bar. We can also give the legend a title. So we come in here, then we can say a legend. Okay, so we can do that here. All right. Okay, so this is like a simple map you can create using your QGIS. I know this is very basic. You can create a much more complex maps with this tool. As I made mention earlier, this is just to show you how the tools are being used and where these functionalities are. Okay, so when you are done with your map, that's you are assuming we are done with this map. We can style it more to look much more appealing, visual appealing. So we will, assuming we are done, we can now we can save it, or we can also choose to print it out using these tools. So you can print the layout out, or you can also export it as a PDF. So let's say I click on it, then it's going to save this map somewhere on my machine. Let me put it on my desktop. Then I say save. Then your map is saved on your machine or your wherever you saved it. Let's go there to check if it's saved. So that's our map. Okay, so that's our map there. So that was a simple map we just created using the composer. Okay, so I think our first goal for today has been accomplished. We will now move away from this composer, so I'll just close it. Then now use a simple tool that will help you to create a simple web application, a web map using QGIS. So this simplifies the work a little bit. So to use that, I would like to use the region data set. Okay, let's use this one. Let's use the same data set to do that. Okay, so to do that, you go to your web menu, then you come to your QGIS to web plugin, then you come to create web map. So when you do that, you get this panel in here. So the panel here is showing all the layers. So you can see layers and group. So you see all the layers that we have on our layer panel in here. So depending on what you want to show on your web GIS, your web app, you can also do that. So let me add this to it, the base map. So we have our global hybrid, we have our OSM standard, and we have our districts, the districts layer that we added. So over here, these are the attributes of our data sets. That's our districts data. We have region. So when you see no label, it means that we don't want the pop-up field. So you can see we have a pop-up field here. So when you click on the data, it's supposed to pop up like these attributes. So if you don't want the attribute to show, leave it as default, no label. But for the purpose of our demonstration, we want to use the label like inline. So the inline will give you the region, then the value or the keyword, that's the region, districts, and the values assigned to it. So I will select districts, so assign. You cannot, the header, at times distorts the pop-up in a way. Yeah. So personally, I usually go for the inline labels. Then I don't want to show this. I would like to show the area, and I would like to show the population for 2018. Okay, let's preview what we've done. Okay, so hold on. So over here we have the map libraries that you can use. We have the open layers, we have the leaflets, and we have the map boss library or GS. But for the purpose of this illustration, we will be using leaflets. Okay. So when you check the leaflets, I think something is loading. Let me allow it to load. Okay. And we can now preview our data set. So you can see our map here with all the styling we did in our QGIS. Everything is popping up here. Let's check our pop-up. So when I click on this, this is our pop-up. Okay. So we are getting our values in there. All right. Then let's add some more features to our map to make our map more a bit interactive. Let's come to appearance. So with the appearance, we would like to add certain things to it. So over here we have add abstracts. And if you want to use them, but I'll be using some few features in here. So for our map, I would like us to use our geolocate user. So when anybody comes to the map, you'll be able to see where the person is located. I would like to also highlight on hover. So any of these features you select, you can just update the map, the update preview, to see if it's showing. Okay. Please, if you have any question, kindly jot it down right after the presentation. I'll open the floor and try as much as possible to answer all the questions within our time, our duration that we have for the mentorship program. So I've just clicked on the update preview, and it's loading the features that I just checked here together with what we've already done earlier. Okay. Yeah, so it has loaded. So you can see that when I zoom in and I move up, sorry. When you hover on the map, the highlights feature also, it highlights the feature that you are hovering. Yeah, so you can see that. So that's the feature we just added. Okay, so all these things, the plugin we are using here, someone sat down and wrote the plugin, right? And it's making it easier for those of us who struggle to write all these codes from scratch, yeah, to do these things. So after this session, like when we enter into the real coding, we are going to build systems from scratch, from the ATM, or bringing the data sets, loading the data, as we are doing here. So this is like a plug and play section. You just have to check the things you need. Let's add a measuring tool. I'll add a measuring tool to it. I need it in metric. We have a feature, a show pop-up on hover. So when you select this, when you hover on each feature, the pop-up will show. We don't want that. Let's see, canvas size. Well, yeah. So we'll keep it this way. You can try the other features in there to see. Let me update our map, our preview, to see if all the things that I selected are showing on our map. Okay, let's give it some few seconds for it to load. Okay. All right, so we have it loaded here. Okay, let's see if there is any other thing. Yeah, so we are assuming these are the feature. There is a search feature in here. Search to, yeah, okay, layer search. You can also add that layer. So that's functionality. So we want the map, when you're on the map, you should be able to search like a feature by the district name. So I'll select the district. Yeah, I think we are good to go. So assuming you've put together all these things here, now you've previewed it. I don't want to preview it again for it to take our time. So I'll just come to export. Oh, sorry, I didn't touch base on this too. So there's a measuring tool I added. So you can just make some measurements. It will help you make some measurements on it. Yeah. And there is some back with this measuring to the layer. What you are measuring, the polygon you are drawing is falling behind the base map. So when we start with our scripts, I will come back to this and show you how to fix some of these bugs after you've exported your codes. So now that we are done, you can just click on our export button. So I'll click on export button and you can see the script behind these buttons working. So when it's done, it will pop up for you to know where the file, the folder is, or you can select where you want to save it. Then you will visualize your web app, your first web app, a WebGIS app that you'll be creating. So let's give it some time for it to export. So at this moment, what this script is doing is it converts all the data sets that you've loaded to GeoJSON and saves it in a folder. So now that you can see we have success. So it's saying writing we have success and it's exported to this folder. So you have to go into this exported folder. I won't close it. I won't close this pop-up for now. Let's go into that folder. So it says, let me minimize this. So it says I should go to drive C. That's my drive C. My machine is becoming slow. Okay, so that's my drive C. Then I go to users. Then I come to my username. Then I come to local. Where's our local? Can't find the local here. Okay, let me just click on OK. Let's see something. Okay. Let Let me come here. Usually, after exporting, you should be able to automatically open the folder, then the folder in which it's exported. I don't know if any of you has been able to get that pop-up yet. Let me just try.
It's in app data before going to local.
Come again?
It's in app data, the folder app data before clicking on local.
Okay, let's come here.
Yeah, you skipped a step. You skipped.
I skipped the app data. Yeah. Sure. I can see you're following. Okay. Add data. Yeah. And you have our local.
Maybe you can copy and paste your characters.
Come again?
You can copy and paste your characters from the pop-up.
Let me check. I want to check where the folder again. Sorry. So in the app data, I forgot to copy the path.
Yes, you can copy and paste.
Come again?
When it's done, you can copy and paste the path.
Yeah, I can hardly hear you. Okay. Let me check something out here. No, it's not this folder. Did anyone see the folder in which it saves after the local? Okay, so after the local, you go to the temp folder. Okay.
Now you can copy and paste the path.
Okay, then you have our QGIS. My machine is a bit slow. It's becoming slower now. But on your side, have you been able to see the folder? Okay. All right. So after when it's done, let me show you something here.
Can you check your Chrome? I mean, mine open directly.
So yeah, I think that's what is not showing here. My Chrome. Okay, so that's it. Sorry. So when you are done, it should open automatically. Open that in your Chrome, so you can see that here. So that's the data that we're trying to export. So you can go to this location on your machine. This is what I was trying to look for. You go to this location, then you will see the folder in there. Let me just copy this link. I think I should be able to enter. What is it? Let me search for this the folder in the folder name in that folder. I want to show you something in that particular folder. Sorry, I think my machine is becoming much more slower now. I don't know why. But the most important thing is for you you should be able to export the data. And when you go into the folder name that we have there, what is it? Sorry. We have the QGIS to web, then it comes with the today's date in there. So go to that folder. When you enter that folder, you're going to see an index.html. And there are other folders, the folders that you see in there. It's quite unfortunate because of the way let me try and use the what do you call it, the other window to see if that is going to work. Okay, a minute. Okay, so I found that the location. So when you're able to locate the folder in the M folder, you are going to see something like this. So you see the CSS, you see the CSS folder, you see the data folder, you have the images, the JS, the legend, the markers, the web fonts, and the HTML. Okay, so let's go into each folder. I would like to explain something. So with the script behind the plugin, it writes all these, reference all these libraries that was used in making the page. So that's the CSS, and we have the CSS in here. I don't want to touch base on this because you've not tackled HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I just want to show you where the files are, so that when we start with the hardcore coding, you will be able to come back to this folder and make your necessary editing. And we come to data. So you can see we have this data, the name of the district or the name of the layer that we are showing here, .js. Let me use my Sublime test to load that for us to see how the QGIS is looking like. Okay, so I'm loading the data set in the. Let me just specify it. Pardon me for the slowness of my machine this evening. Okay. Hello, please. I'm getting a feedback that some people can't see my screen. Can we all see? Can anyone see my screen?
Your screen is black now.
Can you see any mouse pointer moving?
Yeah, we can see.
Yeah, we can see.
Yes.
You can see. Can you see
Yes,
that?
excuse me.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so I'm trying to prettify the GeoJSON so that we can see the structure. So when we start the sections, you'll be using your own data set, and you have to, we'll point you to, there's this online tool that you can use that to convert your data to GeoJSON, then you load it. So we'll be loading GeoJSON for starters, then we move on to the next phase by publishing our data into our Geo server and show them. I think my machine is tired this evening. It's is keeping some time it's taking some time to load just this layer. So you can visualize that at your end. If you're able to go into the folder that you exported, you go into the data folder, you will see this file in there, and you should be able to visualize it. And the image folder, I think it has some default images which they use on the map. So what's the loader and the zoom in, zoom out icons. Yeah. So basically, okay. Sorry. One last thing. Let me show. My browser is my Sublime is even struggling to load the QGIS in. I wanted to open the index.html for us to look at it. Let me try if I can use the Let's Plus since the Sublime is misbehaving. Let me use a different. Okay, I think this worked. So when you come to the your HTML, you see that the script has automatically wrote all these lines of codes for you. So in another, you should have written all these codes for it to work, but the script is doing that for you. So what we will be learning to do is for us to learn how to write these codes from scratch. And how to, so what we have here, if you want to modify what we are seeing here, our map, how can you do that? So you should understand each of the line. And my main motive of this whole mentorship program is not to teach you, not for you to cram all the codes into your head, but for you to understand the basics. If you're able to understand the basics, when you get hold of any codes, you should be able to customize it to suit your needs. When you go online, there are a lot of codes in there. When you go to GitHub, there are a lot of GitHub projects which you can free projects which you can get hold of and customize it. If you want to write it from scratch, because you have the basics, you can do that also. So my main motive is for you to understand the basics of the language that is being used and to know how to manipulate scripts when you get hold of. So what you are seeing here, we have a little bit of HTML, we have a little bit of JavaScript in here, which will be tackled in the next subsequent phases that we'll be having. Yeah. So I'll bring it's 8:10. I'll bring my presentation to an end. Then maybe open the floor for some questions. Maybe I'll first of all take some questions on the page. I'll answer some questions on the page before I open the floor for other people to come in. Okay, let me close this. Okay, let's see some questions that police are asking on the page. So the first question is, so the class is being recorded. Is this the same as ArcGIS or ArcMap 10.8? Yeah, so they are all GIS softwares. They work, I'll say, like they perform the same functions. Yeah, they perform the same functions. One is proprietary, and the other, so the ArcGIS is proprietary, the QGIS is free. It's an open source software too. You don't need to pay to use it. Yeah. And the other question is, I don't have all the options that you have under the quick map services. Okay, so let's go back to our QGIS. Click on OK. So one of our colleagues is saying he's not getting all the options under quick map services. If you are not getting all the options, kindly come to settings, right? You come to settings, then you get this pop-up. When you come to this pop-up, come to the last tab, that's more services, and click on get contributed packs. It will update the options. So when you get this notification, so last version of the the country pack was downloaded. So when you get that, you can close it and come back again, and you should be able to see all these options there. I hope I answered your question. Okay. The other is the video going to be on YouTube channel. Yeah, so everything that we are doing here is being recorded. So after the section, we'll put it on the channel. Okay. You downloaded another. Can you download another plugin called Open Layers? If there is a plugin called Open Layers, you can also try that also. Personally, I have not tried that plugin. That you can experiment that. Yeah, there's no harm in trying. Yeah, okay. If you symbolize using, say, a pie chart for a region in terms of saying population, when exported, will the symbols be saved? I'm not getting this question. If you symbolize using, say, pie charts for a region in terms of population, when exported, will the symbols be saved? So let's say you use a symbol, a customized symbol. If I'm getting what you're trying to say, you have a customized symbol and you used it, and after exporting, okay. To be frank with you, personally, I've not tried using a customized symbol, so you can try that and see if it's good. But I'm thinking the plugin should be able to like extract it, because it extracts everything on the map window into the folder which it's created. Okay, there's a question here. How do we finally get to the QGIS to web? Okay, so to get to QGIS to web, I think you joined late. Yeah, so when you come to plugin, the plugin menu, you come to manage and install plugin. Then you'll get this panel or dialog box. Then you search for QGIS to web.
I was asking, how do I get finally into the website and the online system?
Please, kindly mute. When I'm done, I'm answering the questions here. I'll open the floor so that you can answer questions one after the other. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So when you come to your plugins, you can search for your QGIS to web. Then you should be able to QGIS. Yeah, I've already highlighted it here. That's why it's not showing. So you should be able to see that here and click on install. All right. Okay. Is there any? Let me check if I've exhausted all the questions. Yeah. How can I lock a layer so that change is done to the other layers won't affect the rest? Yes. So when you go to the map window, let's me come to the new. Oh, I closed the other one. Let me just open a new one and show you that. So when you add I'm just adding this here so that I can get access to the layers here. I don't know if that's what you're trying to say. So in other words, for the the changes you did not to affect here, just click and check the auto update off, so that all the changes you do there doesn't affect what you are doing here. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Okay. So I'll open the floor for some questions. At 8:30 we should close this session. Then all the other questions can come on the page. I will personally, or my other colleagues will come on board to help answer the questions. So now the floor is open for those online to ask questions. Maybe I'll take some 5 questions, then we'll end this session. All right. Thank you. Please, the floor is open, so you can unmute yourself and ask the question. Or in order for it for us to avoid interruptions, you can type it in the page, like on the platform. I'll read it out, then we tackle it. Okay, so how can I download the data on GitHub? So in order to get the data from GitHub, you have to clone the repository. Let me go there. It's good you even asked that question. I was supposed to add this to that. So when you go to the GitHub, you can download this as zip, and it's going to bring everything in the as the time you are downloading. So currently we only have module 2 data. Like for the data set we'll be using for the whole program, everything is in there. So when you download the zip file, you should be able to get the data sets. Yeah. But for the other modules, we only have just module 2 being updated. The other modules will be updated as we move on. Yeah. Thank you. And also, please, if you have any question or any issue when you are trying it out in your houses or your offices, you can come to issues here. Then you create a new issue. You click on new issue. Then in order for us to easily see where you're coming from, just enter the name of the module. Just say if it's under module 1, you enter the name of the module, then you can give it a title, what you're about to ask. Then you can add your comment or the question that you want to ask here. Then any of the administrators can come in there to help you solve it. You can also use our channels. You can go to LinkedIn or our Telegram page and also put in there. But if you're adding some snapshots, kindly put it here so that we don't flood people's messages with your images. Yeah. Okay, Nafisa, I hope I've been able to answer you. Yeah, Lucifer, how can I lock a layer? Can you elaborate that? Okay, someone is asking for the link to the GitHub data, please. Please, if you have a link to the repository, you should be able to have the link. Let me just copy this and share that on the page. Okay. Please, is there any other question for me to answer? So kindly keep this folder wall on your machine. So if we're able to finish what we are supposed to tackle, God willing, on Wednesday, I will quickly show you how to publish your app on GitHub for free. So you can host your app on data for free. Then maybe you've been able to accomplish something that you want to show to the world, to copy like this, your portfolio. And there is this platform which I recommend, Spatial Node, which was built by another colleague of ours in Nigeria. Spatial Node. You can publish your app, you go there, take some snapshots, put the link in there, then the whole world can see the good works you are doing in your country or in your workplace. Okay, someone is asking, can you kindly show us how to add grid to our maps on QGIS? Okay, so to add grids to our map, let me. Okay, I shouldn't have missed this. Okay, so I'm trying to add the map here and show you where the grid feature is. So when you come to the properties of the map window, what's the map you are adding, right? You come to the properties, you should see, let me just re-arch. Oh, sorry. Okay, so let me just check. So you come here, assuming you've added your map, you come to the grid, and you should be able to add the grid to it. So you can do your modification in here. Then if the type you want, whether you want crosshairs or whichever interval you want, you can also do that in here. Okay. So as you play along with this, you should be able to do that image process. So you can play along here to get the raster done. My machine is a bit slow today, so if I try doing these things, it starts freezing. So that's where the grid functionality is. You can try that at your end. Whatever output you get, you can share with me, and I'll be able to help you out. How do you finally get to QGIS to web? I think I've answered this question. So you go to the plugin and you try to search for QGIS to web at the plugin, then you should be able to install it. If you symbolize using, say, a pie chart for a region. I think I've answered these questions. Oh, okay, but they are old questions. Okay, all right. So please, the floor is still open. We have about 5 minutes to end this section. If you still have some questions, you can type it on the page and I'll read it out and help you out. Other than that, you can put the questions on the platform, any of our platform, being it our LinkedIn page, the YouTube, or this very platform. We'll be glad to help you out. Okay, someone is asking us to give you the raw files to download the QGIS on our system. Yeah, so Terry, I can send you a link. When you even go to QGIS official website for QGIS, you will see the links to the files. if whether the right files to the system that you are using. If you are using Windows, you see the Windows installer there. If you are using Mac, you see that. If you are using Linux too, you should be able to see that there. So you kindly go to their official website. If you find it difficult to do that, hit me up and I'll try as much as possible to help you out. I'm unable to send it to this group. There is a lock layer checkbox. Okay. And that layer, okay, I suggest the solution to this to be shared here for others to learn. Thank you. Okay, I will look at that feature and share that on the page for others to look at it. Okay, someone is saying images are not allowed in the group. Okay, pardon us. I'll check the settings to the group, and if there is any limitation there, I'll try as much as possible to undo that. All right. Okay. All right. So in order not to waste our time, I will bring the session to an end, and all the questions can come on the page so that we can I will be able to tackle them. So those of us having similar issues will be able to look at it and solve it at their end. And some of these the minor things that we did, I will take some time and do snapshots of some videos of the key things we learned today or in all the sections and put it there so that you can just go to those videos and use it for whatever you want to use it for. All right. Okay. So thank you very much for your time this evening. I pray we go and practice what we've been taught. Yeah, because whatever we'll be doing in the next phases will be a build up of what like the previous sessions. So if you forget the previous session, building up on the next session will be a bit rough for you. All right. So we will be available on Saturday. So on Saturday, 12 p.m. GMT, we'll open the floor for like an hour. If you have any questions relating to anything we are going to teach, I taught today, on Wednesday and Friday, you can ask all the questions, like the obstacles, you can just push it there. We will be online to help you out here. And during the week, you can push your questions to my DM or on the page. Then we'll try as much as possible to help you out. All right. Stay blessed and have a nice evening, morning, afternoon. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye. Good night, everyone.
Thank you so much.